closer.
What's going on, man? This is Single Dad Podcast, man. It's your host, Bam Deleon, in the building, man. This is episode 1. Yeah, man, we're just touching grounds, man.
Indeed. And this is another podcast brought to you by Push It Forward, Push It Forward Media Group. This is the Push It Forward Podcast Network, man. So definitely glad to be here, man.
I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Indeed, man. So, like you said, man, this is episode 1. So tell the people a little bit about yourself and just the motivation behind this podcast without getting into the actual topic of the day or whatnot, just to give a good introduction.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm a single dad, and I have custody of my 2 children. And I've gone through trials and tribulations. I wasn't really groomed for this. It wasn't set out for me to be this way. I've kind of learned by trial and error because, I have certain principles and things I feel like men today should stand on, and just trying to be a role model to my children. So, I feel like that needs to be documented.
Indeed. And, tell the people real quick, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to contact you?
At Bam Deleon at Instagram. It's at BAM_DELE.
Indeed. So, man, I from other experience, man, people be like, man, just go in. So, for this episode, man, with the first one jumping off, man, let's go ahead and get into today's topic, man. So what are we going to talk about today?
How I got into, the situation that I'm in, getting custody of my children, the situations that kind of really had me jump off into it,
Indeed. So let's give, like I said, share as much of it as you want to, share, but how did you meet the mother of your children? Where did that come from? Because this is important, for the young brothers out there and everything like that.
Yeah, man. Well, I met their mother actually in school. We were classmates, and we vaguely knew each other from school. She was, a rather quiet, individual at the time. She was a quiet female, and we remembered each other after high school, and we linked back up, and chemistry, and now we here, man. Got 2 beautiful children.
Indeed. So I guess you already stated that you're a single dad.
Yes, sir.
So explain, just because we'll get more into detail of how you got it and stuff like that, but what was the circumstances, that made putting you being a single dad on the table in the first place? Was that your plan? What changed the direction of how everything was going?
Well, man, to be completely honest, I that wasn't the plan. Like, most people, you bring life into the world, you plan for you to, y'all doing this together, man. And I actually was helping her out with her other children that she had. Like, my children are her not her first, just to put like her second or her third and fourth children. So I came into the situation, open hands, open arms, all in. Like, my children, they're siblings, so I was looking out for them as well. And honestly, when just rocky times for in like any other situation, relationship, and I went from a situation where I was not seeing them to getting them, and basically just the lifestyle that I've been living since then, just full custody. Like she just kind of, just disappeared, for lack of better words. Pop in here and there, and that just kind of had me to where it made me have to adjust my lifestyle.
So basically, what you're saying is that you guys went into a situation to where you essentially had your children. You were guiding your children at that time. Correct. And you were kind of forced into a box where you had to do what you did, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Like naturally, like I said, I wasn't groomed for this. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't like, I'm taking my kids or anything like that. It just was after we were, had gone our separate ways or whatever, I went to take them back, just as bluntly and honestly as I can remember it. I went to take them back to her, and there just was no response, it just went kind of, me having a job and being a student at the time. Shouts out to my mom and my aunt. They kind of helped me weather the storm. Figure out my certain moves and give me support with daycare, child services, and things like that. And we just adjusted our whole way of life, to be honest.
Indeed, man. So, maybe you can give a little background in regards to, like, even why is this a thing? We're talking about being a single dad and custody and all this stuff like that. Mm-hmm. What's the big deal? Why is this, from your vantage point, why is this something that a lot of people don't know about, and why is this such a, maybe, a bit of an issue?
Well, I feel like, because I run into a lot of, men where, they just we're not informed, legitimization,
What's legitimization?
That's where you go acknowledge your rights to your child. And we in the state of Georgia, you can sign the birth certificate and not have any rights. So like you can be paying child support or however you think that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in a honorable or whatever type of fashion, however you want to look at it, to take care of your child. And in the system, in the government's eyes, that's nothing. So well, that's a major point that I feel like people should really, every man should have that handled.
So walk through that process a little bit as far as legitimization. You already kind of explained what it is, but why do you have to do it, and how do you do it?
Well, essentially it's no custody, no visitation, no rights, like as a man, so if your child's mother wants to just not let you see your children, she don't have to, you can be, for whatever reason. So that protects you as the father. And in my situation, it was necessary for me to do because I had multiple things that I really needed to get done with my children. So I went to the courthouse for the county that my children's mother lived in, and I pursued it. I went and I pursued the situation, how, stumbling, jumping over hurdles, but I got there, and we're here today. So it all worked out.
So if I understand you correctly, legitimization is something that a father has to do. In most cases, is not something that a mother has to do.
Nah, the mother is good. You know what I mean? Like the unfit or whatever, how you may feel, or night, like even in my case, just absent, in and out. She still had, until I went and got my children legitimized. Even the money you spend is considered a gift. Like nothing is documented, registered. So
whoa, hold up, you said the money that you send is considered a gift?
Yeah, man, you could be paying if you have not been legitimate, if you have not legitimized your children, gone in front of a judge and have custody, placement, certain things like where the kids are, none of that is established. Like it's all he say, she say to the judge's eyes, like, you know what I mean? So you have to work that out and get that, you know, official, you know what I mean, for lack of better terms, get it legit. So I had to do it because it was just monkey wrenches and cans of worms popping up everywhere, man. So before we move on, because that's a major point. Even for people who are, you know, with the mother of their children, they married or together, you think that every dad should go through that process of getting their children legitimized? Married is the only situation where you're good. You know, y'all are, you're one. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if you're not married, you have no rights. Like, you know what I mean? Like, legitimization, I repeat, like, this is PSA, however you need to, dads, you know, even if it's good, like I said, like me and my child's mother, we have two, so we had to have been good at some point. But yeah, and I signed, you know, just another side note, like in the hospital, I figured, I was like, I asked them something about legitimization, you know, and you know, they added a nice little sidebar on the birth certificate when I went down there and signed. With that wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to go to the courthouse for your city and, you know, get that paperwork started off, man. It's worth it, man. You know what I mean? These kids, man, it's worth it to me. No question.
So let's just move on, you know, into the, like, the nuts and bolts of it, you know. You already talked about legitimizing the children. That was a step
yes,
that
sir.
you had to cross. Let's talk about just even, you know, maybe a little bit more detail, as much as you know you're comfortable sharing, you know, in regards to the events leading up to you having to go through and having to actually get custody, and, you know, just kind of get that process a little bit.
Well, like I said, my children are now 7 and 8, and they've been with me full time since they were like 1 and 2. Like, you know what I mean? I believe when they were about 4 or 5, whenever, that 2017, 2018 is when I went and got the paperwork, you know, actually in front of a judge, so to say, because I had gone through another sidebar to that is I had to have her served, and she, you know,
So hold on, before we even get there, did you have to hire a lawyer?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, I did not. I would recommend it to other people, but in my situation, I have a special situation, so it was almost no need. Like, I was confident going into the situation, but I would recommend everyone consult with a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm sorry. What were we?
Well, you were just walking through the beginning steps of why you had to seek custody, and just you started going into, you know, just the actual process of it.
Oh yeah. Well, honestly, like I said, it had been going on for years. You know, they were with me. So I figured when they were getting to the age of them having to start school, I figured, man, it's time for me to be able to, when I walk into the school, I want to be able to seem legitimate, like a legit guardian of my children. You know, I didn't want any confusion. So I went about getting that process started, but like I said, I knew I needed to get them legitimized. I had to have her served, but I didn't have a valid address. I didn't know where she lived. So I had the paperwork in the system. They went, boom, took the server the subpoena. Hey, that was money gone. She's not at the address. And then we had a situation where we had a court case where defects got involved with my child's mother with her boyfriend at the time. They're married now. Who she's with now. He was leaving their siblings home alone, and thank God mom was already with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when DFAX called me, I was like, oh man, like that was a surprise, and I was like, well, I can use this situation to not have a valid address, because I know, like, you know what I mean, what's going on. But come to find out, my child's mother was arrested at the time, which was another thing I did not know. So it kind of, when that call came about, it was like, oh, well, now I have an address. Let me get the address to the courthouse. Then boom, and next thing you know, I fast forwarded to get to my actual court date with me legitimizing them and getting my custody, and the judge gave me custody at the court hearing due to the circumstances, temporary custody, might I add too. Like, it's still kind of unfair. I got a little bit of the short end of the stick due to that matter, but all in all, I got custody, and we've been good ever since, man. I can't complain.
So let me understand this correctly. So firstly, you're in a situation where, for whatever reason, you may not necessarily know exactly why, but you got the kids full time right now.
Yeah.
Not legally. I mean, I'm not talking about right now, this second, but we talking about at the time leading up to you going through the process that you needed to go through to get custody. So you got the kids. Kids are under your guys full time at this point, and you don't necessarily know why. And then going through that process, you also discovered that the mother of your children was actually arrested.
Yeah, correct.
And even with those circumstances being there, it still was not an easy process.
Nah, bro. Nah, man. It was legit funny, man, because it's like, had she not been arrested, bro, I still might be trying to legitimize them. You feel what I'm saying? Like, legally. Like, I didn't have an address on her, like I said. Like, she's absent. She's not in the, you know what I mean? Like, I credit given where she's popped up. They have seen her, and she's, but since then, but consistently, no. So, like, for me to have an address, that wasn't a factor, but.
So, before we go in a little bit more, what's some just, you already gave one little nugget, to the people as far as like, all right, what you need to do if you're in this situation. But for you, if you had to look back at it and up to this point, what would you advise all the young brothers out here to do to better situate themselves in a situation if they, encounter, and they have children by a woman that they're not necessarily with or whatever, I mean, what's your advice on that tip?
To be honest, man, legitimize your children to protect yourself. You know what I mean? But just to be completely honest, from what the judge told me, man, from when we were in our court case, man, when you have to involve that type of situation, like the legal system, with even just being able to have to see your children, it kind of puts them, if it's not done in a positive light, like everybody, it brings out another element. It throws another monkey wrench in the situation. So, if you can handle, if you can handle it civilly, without, everybody be adults, fair, for lack of better words, man, I recommend that. Like, just to be honest, because, that's a point that, I feel like that's not touched on, man, because, you teaching them, just how to fight. You feel what I'm saying? Like, basically, like,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because when, custody battles and those type of things, man, it can get ugly. I'm product of it, not product of it, but I've been through it doing these type of things, So, yeah, man, just handle your business, man. If you can handle it civilly, but handle your business though, because your children are your responsibility, and how you know what I mean. That's what you're supposed to do.
So, kind of going back a little bit, how long would you say was the actual process for you getting custody of your children?
The actual process took about maybe a couple months. It wasn't a very
Well, hold up. Let me back up. How long were the children under your guise for this period of time? Because I'm pretty sure that plays into account to just the whole case and everything.
Yeah, that we have been doing this for years, man. Mm-hmm. Like, so it was honestly, I would say about 2-3 years, man. Mm-hmm. Like, it was a legit 2 or 3 years, and that was just like, okay, let's get this situated, let's get this started, because like I say, months went by till I could even get, I knew what I wanted to do, but how to do it, and finding out, just for lack of better words, calling the police thinking that I had, some type of rights, and that's when I found out, well, man, look, you ain't been in front of a judge, you can't file a certain, I don't have any rights to my children, so, it just was a process that I had to get situated that was necessary.
Yeah, so that's, hold on a second. That's interesting.
Yeah, I couldn't even file child. Like I was saying, it was a point in time where I started it and kind of gave up on it because it was I was losing jobs, and I lost one job. I that's when that was the needle that broke the camel's back, however the saying go. I was done. Called her, like I said, I was learning how to go through it. Like I said, I had informed my family, and they were helping me, but I had ran into a few little ran in a car trouble, just to be honest, and I needed to work on my car. I'm a technician also, so I wanted to work on my car, but my children were small at the time, and I was unable to do it. So I called just to be honest, I called the police to see if there was any way I could file child abandonment, just to try to threaten her with it, and that was a no-go. I had no rights, so it was nothing I could do. Basically, the police told me they couldn't do anything. So
that's deep. So how much did this cost you?
At the time, I believe the subpoenas were about $75 to have her served, because she, I had nobody to sign the paperwork. It was $75, I believe, $50 to $75. Mm-hmm. And the actual court, the legitimization paperwork, the little packet for me to have, I had to fill out everything, was $25. And the filing fee was, I think that was the most, it was $250, I believe. Mm. This was 2017, so So but it's once again, man, it's nothing. It was worth it. Especially talking about security with your children. So I'm recommending it, man.
Indeed. So you went, and when you actually got the judgment to go your way, how did that feel?
Man, bro, we good. We had been good, but it was man, it was a real blessing, bro. But the funny thing about that, my kid's mother was man, you can have, we had spoke before we went, and like I said, this was no surprise to nobody. It was just a surprise of the actual being in front of the judge. So she somehow contacted me before the court case and was like, hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and just give you temporary custody. So I was like, cool. I didn't want to, like I said, she was arrested at the time, so I didn't want to really kick her while she was down and kind of give her the benefit of the doubt. I take temporary instead of, you know, like I said, like I don't want to put that energy out there. Like, man, I'm taking the kids and like that fighting, and now we gotta, you know, be bitter and be bickering, so we can be civil. I'm all for being civil if it's a possibility of it. You know what I mean? So I feel great, bro. Temporary or full, man. They here with me. I know it's full time. So
indeed. So all right. So that begs the question. So right now, technically, legally, is it still temporary, or do you have?
Yeah, it's still temporary. It's still temporary. The judge himself, you know, he took a little, you know, he literally said that he felt sorry for her. He wanted to give her another chance to, you know, get herself together, and you know, he didn't want to. We mediated so quickly that he said that he felt like it was an opportunity that, you know, maybe something or even possibly work out between us. But you know,
so that's interesting though, right? Because from the time that you first got, you know, you had the kids and you like, I got them now. Like they ain't just visiting, they here.
Right.
It's now. What's the time frame?
My children were born, and my daughter was born 2014. She was with me starting to be like full time by her first birthday. So 2015 to now, man. So 7 years, bro. I've been doing it. Like, you feel what I'm saying?
So I mean, you know, and like I said, I'm not, you know, obviously, you know, just hearing you talk and everything like that, you definitely, you know, you're a fair dude. You know what I mean? You ain't trying to, you know, you just want what's fair. You understand what I'm saying? And want what's best for the children. So
yeah.
But it does. It's to me. It's interesting that, you know, you've been taking care of the kids for almost, I mean, it's 7 years, but I mean, before you know it, it'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
And you still only have temporary custody. And you said that the judge still wanted to leave the door open for her to be able to come and get custody. So do you feel like the system inherently has this idea that the children are better off with the mom?
Oh, most definitely, sir. Yeah, it was actually kind of like I said, I consider myself a humble guy, like, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't, my parents, well, my mom, man, you know, aunts, plenty of people, you know, knowing this situation, how long it took me to get there was hot with me, you know what I mean? Because I didn't fight for it, you know what I mean, for full custody. But like I said, like my focus is making sure the kids are straight. So I don't want to do nothing to where, you know what I mean, like I wasn't studying that, man. I knew they was gonna be here full time, like, so it's just a piece of paper to me. But I have a piece of paper that if she wants to come back and get her custody, then I've already spoken to a lawyer about it. She still got to take me in front of a lawyer to get her, you know what I mean, get them placed back with her. And at that point in time, man, what for? You know what I mean? Like, they been here, you know, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's
But yeah, I do feel like I got to answer your question, like one statement, yeah, I feel like I got the short end of the stick, but you win some, you come out all right in some, so I feel like I came out all right.
So, you know, what would it take for you to actually have legal, permanent custody of your children?
Well, legitimization is really just you going down there and acknowledge your paternity. So really what happened was I was supposed to go down there and quote unquote get put on child support. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what people happen to what happens to the father when he goes and legitimizes his children.
So hold that thought for a second. So you're saying when you go and you do this legitimization, is it like an automatic child support?
From my understanding, other guys, I've instructed my friends over time about this, and everybody who I know who that's just what happens. Like, that's just a part of the process. Like, you're acknowledging this is your child, so they feel like, I guess the government feels like, you know, now you should pay whether you're seeing them or not. When you're legitimizing them, though, that's where you fight for your visitation. So when we were talking about that in my legitimization, it was like, well, she's arrested and whoop, so we'll give you temporary custody, but when she gets out, we will, that leaves the door open for her to, you know what I mean?
All right, so this podcast is going to be fun because, not fun because I know it was a lot of energy, a lot of everything went through it in that regard, but I'm talking about just opening up people's eyes to the actual system, right? Because this is interesting, right? So you're dealing in a situation, for whatever reason, the mother of your children, she's arrested, right? You're free. The kids are in your physical custody. You're taking care of them. They're not missing no meals.
Definitely not.
They're right on point on everywhere where they should be. They go to school. They have all those things in place.
Most definitely.
But the system still says that when the mother of the children who was arrested at the time, when she gets out, there's still an opportunity for her to take over the children. Even though that's an interesting dynamic, and I think what's important is and why we're even doing this podcast is because I think brothers need to start speaking up about this type of thing.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. It's interesting that this is not something that by now we're not hip to, because this is like necessary, man. It's like what's the saying? Mama's babies, daddy's babies, and I feel like this new generation of men are at least trying to stand up. Like, we're trying to correct a lot of the wrongs that some of us had. I've had outstanding. I had an outstanding father, outstanding male role model. So that's not my case. That's why I go as hard as I do. But
yeah,
that's why I feel like I even teach my friends, anybody that I see, even my coworkers, I put them up on game when they, I've seen people just going through it because, man, it's frustrating wanting to and not being able to. And then for me in my situation, I was doing and still wasn't legit, you know what I mean? So I don't mind sharing my story to help somebody, from not having to keep them from bumping their head while I bump my head a couple times. For real.
Yeah, man, that's deep, man. That's real deep, man. And definitely, man, I'm giving you applause for you going through that process.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Small things to a giant, man. I can set an example for mine, so I'll do it 100 times over.
Indeed, man. So it's like, yeah, man, this is a very, very, very important conversation, man, because even me sitting here, we've been partners forever, yeah. But you're opening my eyes up to some things that I didn't even know in regards to the system, that you just really don't know. And I think, just I guess, maybe expound on this a little bit. Why do you think it's that way? Why do you think that, when it comes down to, paternity rights and stuff like that, that there's this, it's like a bias, inherent bias in the system towards the mother? Why do you think it's that way?
I feel like, man, no shade to previous generations, man, but I feel like, it was hit or miss with some fathers, man, for especially when, my generation coming up, man, some of us had dads and some of us didn't, you know what I mean? So like some of us had, so I guess to avoid that inconsistency or, with, I guess they feel like some dads weren't reliable, but man, like, I feel like, man, we've gone through that, and like now today we fighting for a complete opposite narrative that we trying to paint, pictures we're trying to paint, man. So I feel like that's just with the unfairness. Like I said, man, you know, 80s babies, we heard it all the time, man. Daddy's babies, mama's babies, daddy's babies. So, you know what I mean? Like, and where that came from, because, you know what I mean? Like, I know some stand-up guys, man, and, you know, I feel like that's just, it's all on just changing the narrative, man, how they view us, man. Like, that's why I ain't stopped at nothing. I know some brothers. I had a friend of mine who was going through with it, and you know, when we were 18, and he put me up on it, and I just kept that in mind, you know. Applied the same pressure, you know what I mean?
Indeed. So, you know, with that being said, you know, moving forward, what's your plans forward? You know what I mean? What are you looking at for, you know, in regards to your children and this whole custody thing? What's your next steps?
Realistically, man, I want to go in there with a lawyer for full custody, seek full custody. You know what I mean? I just keep teaching them, you know, have them grow. As long as I have them in a situation where, you know, they can prosper and, you know, and grow, things like that, man, I feel like, and develop everything else with that, is it'll fall in place when it's gonna fall in place. Because like I said, man, we established and we good. So I want to leave the door for their mother to not to come get them, because I'm not going for that, but just come back in the picture. I want her to be involved, you know what I mean? That's why I kind of never really just, because, you know, parents, children need both parents, man. Not necessarily even just need them, but I mean, they need both parents. You dig what I'm saying? So, but I do intend on getting full custody. Like, that is my ultimate goal, man. I just don't, like I said, man, I just ain't want to kick nobody when they was down, man. Like, I don't know, like I said, I never know the situation, so I don't have any more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's admirable, because, you know, I mean, we hear so many stories, you know, about, the opposite.
Yeah, man, people be like, why you don't, man? Like, I'm a man, too, like, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of this stuff that be going on, man, is like bitter, just to put it like common terms, bitter baby mama talk, man. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they with the, man, go put on, man, I done had grown men tell me go put my baby mama on child support, and I'm like, dude, well, alright, but what is that doing for me, bro? Like, where is that going? I mean, yeah, that can help my children, but like I said, like, I'm a real man. I'm a stand-up guy. Like, we good, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't either. Like, what, before the court case, like, I was making it happen before the, like, what, like, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't come up in them type of bitter situations, so, you know, I ain't trying to teach my children no bitter junk like that and have them coming up in there. So I try to keep a level head with how I'm handling stuff, but I do want full custody. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long game. It's a long
game, yeah, man. Because it was like I said, like I touched on earlier, legitimization is legitimization. Like, the judge he touched on custody because of my special circumstances. Like, he told me, like, if this was a regular legitimization case, he would just ask the question, who they live with, who they live with, where they going to school at, slam the, you know what I mean, you acknowledging paternity to the children and slam the gavel, you know what I mean, and something's about it up. But, you know what I mean, it was different. My situation is different, so, you know.
And, you know, here's what I find, though. I know you brought up some examples of maybe some brothers trying to advise you to do, you know, to be petty, right? But in most cases, from my personal experience, I've usually seen that the fathers a lot of times tend to be, you know, lean on the side of, you know, being more amicable, you know, in regards to this whole custody thing and stuff like that. You know, a lot of times you see a woman, you know, they in a situation and they go for it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or whatnot, man. But a lot of times I see, just like how you just expressed it, a lot of brothers just really be just, you know, grateful to have.
Yeah, bro. It was hard, dude. Like I said, like, man, like I I officially could exhale. Like when I got the paperwork, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, man. I don't. What more do I need? Like I said, I've spoken to a lawyer. She gotta come if she wants to do anything. Like come get the kid. She's still legally. She gotta do what I did. And if she ain't even willing to do that, like you know what I mean? I don't got nothing to worry about. Like you feel what I'm saying? Because I'm coming guns loaded. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing this. Like you know what I mean?
Indeed, yeah. The funny thing is, man, I came across a little while ago. I came across this TED Talk of a lawyer who her client, who she specifically represents dads in divorce and paternity cases.
Might need her number.
Yeah, she's in Cali or something like that.
No, for real. No. Need resources, man.
Yeah, but she's, specifically was talking about how, just the system feels that they don't, the system, the way how the laws are written and everything like that, and how the judges and everybody, prosecutors are conditioned, is that, the father is not needed. And it's not a necessity. That's just kind of like the assumption that's inherent in these regulations and these laws and stuff like that or whatnot. So it's really a challenging thing sometimes for an attorney to represent a father in these type of cases, because it's really, the system is really built up against them.
Yeah, dude. Like the father got to take a whole drug test. Like to get, it's like
you had to take a, hold on, at what point did you have to take a drug test?
The legitimization, like for the custody, like you have to show, like, you know what I mean, like they want you to take a drug test. It's at the judge's discretion. I put it to you like that. Like it's a whole checklist that the father has to go through, and it's at the judge's discretion. And yeah, they'll test you, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
So
listening.
That begs the question though, right? So are they any routine or pop-up checkups or anything like that they are engaged in?
Nah, I believe this is just simply to establish it. Like I said, my situation was different.
Well, I'm talking about like right now, since you've had temporary custody of the children.
Nah, they ain't popping up. They ain't popping up.
Okay,
they ain't popping up. But it was a known. Like everybody was like, "Boy, you got to be clean." And I was like, "All right, hey man, it is what it is, man. We gonna cross hell and hot water to get this done, boy." You know what I mean? That's my priority. Indeed. So you've already stated that you don't regret it for nothing. How do you think the kids, do you notice a difference in the kids, having some stability or anything like that? How has it impacted them? Man, this what they've known their whole life, man. So they growing, developing, flourishing, man. Whatever needs, whatever they want to do, man, I try to help them, push them through it. So life is normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like nothing really changed for them. This has been going on with them since they was like 1 and 2 years old. So when we went to court, it was just like, you know what I mean, they got to see their mama for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then we just went back to life is normal, man. Like we helping them through all, like missing teeth, potty training, first days of school, scraped knees and all that, man. So we doing it.
Indeed, man. Big ups to that, man. Big ups to that, man. So, just from this, man, this was an excellent, just foundational breakdown, because from this conversation right here, we can go a billion different directions.
Yes, sir. We do this on the regular, so you know what I mean.
We will go a billion different directions from this.
Yeah, man. It's an open book, man. Each one teach one, so you know what I mean. I'd be lame if I ain't. It would be less of me if I ain't put it out there, man, with an opportunity and a platform. I appreciate you again, bro.
No, I appreciate you, man, because it's it's value. You know what I mean? Everything that we do, as far as pushing forward goes, that we're trying to add value to the culture, and I think this is just a missing conversation.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely.
Indeed. So tell the people how they can get a hold of you again, man. You know, because we moving with this thing. You know.
Yeah, man. One more time, it's I am at Bam Dele, BAM DELE at Instagram. And yeah, man, you'll see me, man. You'll see the children, man. And contact me, man. Reach out, man. I'll respond to DMs. Anybody, any questions, anything like that, man. We can get that going.
Indeed. And we're gonna have the you can find the Single Dad podcast information, stuff like that, at Push It Forward, PUSHITFWD FWD on Instagram, and then also at PUSHITFWD.com. You can find that information there. And we're gonna create an Instagram for the Single Dad podcast as well and whatnot, but for right now, hit up Bam Dele on the Instagram that he just gave you, man. Anything else you want to say to the people, man, before we clock out of this first episode, these nuggets?
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate everybody for listening, man. We'll tune in next time, man. Episode 2, man, on the way.
Indeed, man. Indeed. So thank you, man, for being transparent and stuff like that. And like I said, man, I'm just a fly on the wall, man. I'm learning and everything like that, man. And hopefully y'all are learning as well, man.
Yeah, man.
Indeed. So with that being said, we out this joint.
Signing out, man.
Peace.